We've been challenged in a number of ways, and one of the things we always ask for is prayer. And a lot of the prayers have been answered, but we still need more prayers answered. One of the problems that we're having is getting the equipment, the sufficient equipment that we need right now. We have bodies, we need the equipment. We're getting massive amount of oil into the area right now, but we can't put people out in the marsh walking through the marsh. We need skimmer boats. We need suction, the barges that have the suction devices on it to suck up the oil. A lot of this oil that's coming in is extremely thick, extremely heavy. It's collecting, it's driving, it's coming in. It's very hard to see in places because what's happened, we have a lot of dispersants that's being put on that. What it's doing is it's breaking it up with the weather that we're having right now, putting it out in sizes anywhere about this size to larger patches. It's hard to spot from a helicopter. As those little quarter-sized, dime-sized pieces collect and hit the marsh, they form one large section of oil that begins going into the marsh. So it's a problem that we're having right now is not being able to see the enemy, so to speak. The enemy's popping up in very small pieces, but collectively it's ending up in the marsh and being very destructive. It's killing the marsh. Pretty scary when you're looking at oil on top and what you see on top, and you realize that's nothing compared to what's traveling below the surface. It's pretty scary.
To continue to work, and where BP is responsible on the human needs side. Where BP is responsible for not only human needs, but the infrastructure, the booming, the recovery. We're trying to pull together all faiths, all denominations, all nonprofits that work in disaster recovery and present that to BP, because you can't present it to the federal government.
We need to do something different and try to have resources that will not be damaging to creation.
You can go back after a hurricane and rebuild your churches and your schools and your highways. It's a little harder to rebuild estuaries. We've tried, but we've not been very successful in pumping life back into an area that was thriving with teeming with life of all kinds of organisms and fish. So as you go back, we would ask that you take the piece of placaments that you see here today and take it back to your church. Keep the word alive, because without your help, without the focus and the nation's focus on what's happening out here, this will be forgotten. Eventually, the well will be turned off. Eventually, everybody will go back to their homes in other cities, other states, other countries. But we don't want anybody to forget what happened here and to continue to help long after this oil gets shut down, because we will need it. That oil is still out there. We will see this oil even if they shut it off today for years to come in various forms, various fashions. All you'd have to do is, you don't have to go far to look at that and look at the Exxon Valdez to see the amount of oil that they still 20 years later are finding along their beaches, along their coasts. So that's so important to go back and keep the word alive and not forget about this area once they turn around and get this thing turned off.